now. So this is our, sorry, technical issues. This is our first webinar like this, so we're glad it's had a great turnout. A few housekeeping rules that we are going to go over is all lines will be muted. And if you have any questions that come up during the chat, we will put them in the chat feature and we'll answer all the questions at the end. To put a face with a name, if you ever call the office, why is it not muting? Alan Keller, he is our bureau chief. Bill Gamble, he's our grant administrator. Chris Berg, I'm the program planner, but also the feed licensing specialist, or however you want to call it. Lloyd, he's our fertilizer administrator. And Sophia Boards, he's our administrator, or she is our administrator assistant. If everybody can make sure they're on mute, I don't know why it keeps on not allowing me to hit everybody on mute. All right. Oh. And that's Sophia. All right, so the objectives of today. We want to go over tonnage. So what do we put on the tonnage report? License renewal is coming up for the feed licenses here in the next month. And then we're going to do a portal demo, and then we'll talk about the future plans for these kind of calls. If everybody can keep putting theirs on mute. So for the tonnage report and inspection fees.
Hello?
Hello, I'm in the middle of the meeting. Can you put yours on mute?
Okay, thank you.
All right, for the tonnage report and inspection fees. So the tonnage is the commodity. It's the quantity of the commercial feed and is based upon the distribution by the first to sell or to distribute into the state of Iowa. So it is the quantity or the count. And the inspection fee is the fee that is collected based upon the distribution of the commercial feed by the first to sell or distribute in the state of Iowa. And you'll hear me a lot through this part talking about the first to sell and first distribute it in or into the state of Iowa. That is how we look at who needs to report those tons. And also the inspection fee is also known as the tonnage tax, and currently it is set at 12 cents per ton. So we'll go through some definitions. The commercial feed is defined in our regulations as all materials or combinations of materials which are distributed or intended to be for distribution for use as animal feed or for mixing in feed for animals or birds, with the exception of unmixed whole seeds or grains, physically changed unmixed whole seeds or grains, and then whole hays and other materials, and unprocessed, frozen, or denatured meat and other portions of the animal carcass in a raw or natural state. And when I say physical change, it means that the ingredient, which has been ground or otherwise reduced in particle size, or where the entire seed is physically changed. For example, ground corn meets this definition of unmixed grain. Our unmixed ground corn is an exception and not needed to be recorded on the thing, but if you steam corn and it is not considered an unmixed meal, it is heat treated, and so it has chemically changed the seed kernel. So steamed corn would be exempt and is needed to be reported on the feed report. Branded feed is a feed that the mill formulates and manufactures and keeps on hand at all times for any customers who walk in. This one is not in our definitions, but I just wanted to give it for a later information. And then custom mixed feed is a commercial feed made up of a mixture of commercial feeds and or feed ingredients mixed at the direction of an animal producer for only that one animal producer, intended for consumption by that same animal producer's animals. For this purpose, and the feed manufacturer is not required to pay the inspection fee on the feeds in the report, but the ingredients in the commercial feeds which are used in that formula should be identified on the tonnage report. Toll milling is when a company, so company A in this instance, seeks out company B that has the machinery and equipment capable of taking their formulation and make the feed. So company A is responsible for procuring the raw materials and delivering it to the company B, and company B charges a fee or a toll for the labor and use of equipment. Your billing invoice for the customer list the feed constitute components by quantity, and company A will be the label guarantor. So in this case, company B would select the toll mill only button on our tonnage report, and then company A would be paying the inspection fees for the ingredients, if any are qualified. And then the contract processing is when company A seeks out company B to do the entire production of the process. So this includes the procurement of raw materials, the equipment, the inventory management, the storage, packaging, and shipping, and company A will supply them with maybe the formulation. So company B would be paying the inspection fee for the ingredients, and company A would be considered the end user, and the tons would not be reportable since they were reported through company B. All right, so no sale. I think this is a pretty common one, but it's if you do not distribute any product into the state of Iowa for the period for which you are filing this report, and then you would just check the box and you would only have to do the minimum fee. For total tons distributed, this one is the one that I think has got some people tripped up when switching to this online portal. So every ton that you are first distributing needs to be listed in the area or in this area. Even if you are going to exempt those tons, they need to be listed in the total tons distributed. So we use this as like a bank analogy. So if you go to pull out your tons exempt, so you pull out your money out of the bank, you got to have the money in there. So we can't have you have your balance go negative on the total tons. And then you also can't use a different commodity and then exempt the opposite commodity. So for example, you cannot use DDGs on your total tons distributed, but then exempt out soybean meal. It will still subtract it, so it'll even it out. So we do not allow that, and it will be caught in our auditing process. Exempt customer list. So this consists of only the companies that have applied and have been accepted for the inclusion on this list. These companies are allowed to receive commercial feed products without their supplier or purchaser paying the commercial feed inspection by the state, and have agreed to the responsibility for the payment of these fees directly to the state of Iowa on their own commercial feed distribution reports. The reason usually for this inclusion on the list is to avoid double taxation on multi-state activity that could result in exemption. That the net effect of this list is that these companies are the only companies to whom exempt distributions in Iowa can buy. And we also don't really like the exempt word just because I don't think it gives a good definition. So you may hear me say approved purchaser or qualified buyer throughout the thing. And we're working on possibly getting that changed more formally down the road. So this is straight out of the code, copy and pasted. So it states that an inspection fee to the fixed annually by the Secretary at the rate of not more than 16 cents per ton shall be paid on commercial feed distributed in the state or by the person who first distributes the commercial feed. Like I said, that statement is going to be everywhere. If you ask me who to pay it, it will be the first one to distribute, unless it's a qualified buyer. The inspection fee is not required on the first distribution if to a qualified buyer who, with approval from the Secretary, shall become responsible for the fee. The fee shall not be paid in commercial feed if the payment has been made by a previous distributor. So we don't want it more than once. A fee shall not be paid on the customer formula feeds if the inspection fee is paid on the commercial feeds which are used as components of the customer formula feed. And then a semi-annual fee shall be $20, so that's your minimum. And the licensed manufacturer shall pay the inspection fee of commercial feed that is fed to livestock owned by that licensee. And then for the pet food, in the case of small package pet food, so 10 pounds or less, you are not required to submit it on this report because you do a registration at the January 1 for those products, but any products that are over 10 pounds or one will need the inspection fee reported. So who pays the fee? Again, if there's more than one manufacturer or distributor, it is involved in the chain of distribution. The one who first sells or distributes commercial feed in the state or to the person in this state for further sale is responsible for the payment of the inspection fee for the feed. The exception is if the second person is the exempt list or the approved purchaser. All right, so this is a flow chart that I designed and some help with some other states, but it kind of goes through, you have your categories of what group that you would be doing. So if you're human food byproducts or all the way down to feed, and then it breaks into who would pay that. So, and I'll give you an example here shortly and kind of work through one for you. And this list will also be sent out following this meeting, along with the link to this recording. So example one, it involves chicken feed, and yes, that is me in the chicken costume. So you can have a few laughs. So let's say I manufacture floor stock chicken feed in Iowa. The formula is below. Which ingredients are subject to the inspection fee? So we got cracked corn, soybean meal, oats, alfalfa meal, fish meal, calcium, and poultry nutrient balancer. So we get the cracked corn and the oats from a local farmer, and we get the soybean meal, alfalfa meal, fish meal, calcium, and poultry balancer from other feed companies. So with that being said, the ingredients that would need to be on the inspection report are the cracked corn and the oats. This is because they're no longer unmixed. They're mixed into this thing, so you would be the first one distributing those products into the marketplace since they've been in the mixed form. And so going through this flow chart, we go down to complete feed, and then we go over to what kind of feed is it. It's a mill formulated feed. Do all the ingredients in the feed come from other feed manufacturers? No, we got the stuff from the farmers. And does the formula include any ingredients that have been unmixed whole seeds or unmixed meals from a whole seed? So we did yes, because we got the oats and the ground corn. And then it says report tonnage for all unmixed whole seeds, unmixed meals from whole seeds, fractionated seeds, and processed seeds steamed flake corn, and remit the fees for the total tons reported. So that's just a kind of example of how you'd use this for if you ever run into a problem down the road. All right, example 2. So let's say no companies are exempt in Iowa. So company A manufactures DDGs in Nebraska and sells it to company B in Iowa to use for their feed. Who reports and pays the inspection fee? Company A, since they are the first to distribute the DDGs into the state of Iowa. All right, company 3, it'll sound a little similar, but company B in this case is an exempt or approved purchaser in Iowa. So again, company A manufactures DDGs in Nebraska and sells it to company B in Iowa to use it in their feeds. Who in this case would report the inspection fee? Company B, since they are exempt or the approved purchaser, they take ownership of all reporting of the fees. All right, this is my last example for now. So we got to keep our thinking cat on. So I manufacture dog food in Kansas and sell it to Iowa. The same product in the packages of 4 pounds, 10 pounds, 25 pounds, and 40 pounds. So what would I report in this case? 4 and 10 pound packages would not need to be recorded since these products are under the product registration and they are taken care of at the beginning of the year. 25 and 40 pounds would also need to be reported because they are over that small package limit and are not in the registration period. And also, since this is new feed entering the state, you wouldn't have to worry about which ingredient came from where, since you are the first one distributing it all into the state. So that first example would not be valid in this scenario. All right, so why do we make you guys collect all this information and give it to us? It is required by the Iowa law, Iowa Code 198.9, if you want to look it up again. But it gets posted annually in the public. I think it goes on our website and at least, and then only the tons in the state or into the state are posted. We don't record or release any of the individual companies' companies' totals. The universities and researchers also use this information to look at trends and ingredients of the feed and what's moving, and then we use it as a see what volumes are year to year, and then it's kind of a start of a high-level auditing to kind of notice if you're doing 2,000 one year and 200 the next year, what kind of changed in that process if we need to look into it or not. So going forward, that's what it will also be used for. License renewals. It is that time of year. They will become able to renew your license on June 1st. So you should be seeing an email auto send from the Salesforce about the license renewal time period. So the definition for these ones: pet food, any commercial feed prepared for dogs and cats. Specialty pets is any domesticated animal that normally is maintained in a cage. So your gerbils, rabbits, birds, turtles, reptiles, and fish. And then the manufacturer is to grind, mix, or blend, or further process a commercial feed for distribution. And to distribute is to offer for sale, exchange, or barter commercial feed, or to supply, furnish, or otherwise provide commercial feed to a contract feeder. And then a label guarantor is the company that manufactures and takes responsibility for the commercial feed. All right, so this is what it says in our code, 198.4. It says that everybody who manufactures commercial feed within the state, who distributes commercial feed in or into the state, or those whose name appear on the label as a commercial feed guarantor, requires to have a commercial feed license. So a person shall also obtain a license issued by the secretary for each facility which it distributes in or into the state, authorizing the person to manufacture or distribute commercial feed before the person engages in such activities. Any person who makes only retail sales of commercial feed which bears labeling or other approved indication that the commercial feed is from a licensed manufacturer, guarantor, or distributor who has assumed the full responsibility of the tonnage inspection fee due is not required to obtain a license. So if you just strictly sell retail and you don't produce or anything, but it changes the minute that you mix corn with that feed, then you would need to be licensed. A broker shall not distribute any commercial feed in the state or without first obtaining a license from the secretary issued on forms provided by the secretary. The forms must identify the broker's name and place of business. A person obtaining a license under this section shall pay to the secretary a license fee of $20. A license shall expire on July 1st of the odd number year, and a license may be renewed for a 2-year period as provided by the department. And as we all know, that is coming up here at the end of June. All right, on to the portal. So I started in the middle of this process, but they did start the design and build in in April of 2020. And then in August, we started using it internally, trying to work out some of the kinks and any of the issues. And then in November, we rolled it out to the public. So that's when you guys started seeing your emails come through for these weird links and everything else. And then, so from November to February was the first round of tonnage report and inspection fees. And we also did small package pet food label submissions during that process too. And now today, we're going to be starting the tonnage report and then the first license renewal through the process. So that'll be starting June 1st, and you'll be seeing the emails going out that you're able to start those. So why did we switch to this online portal? It consolidated multiple different databases into one. I think we had 5 databases that we've used for a variety of things, and we consolidated and able to get it all into one database. It has also created an ease for information submitting on your guys' end, and also online payments. It also gives us the ability to store small package pet food labels, unlike we had to do it with a filing cabinet prior. Information is processed faster, and companies are able to print licenses once approved, and you'll learn how to do that here today in a few minutes. It also reduced our paper usage, and it will keep the taxes down with a lower labor cost and less human error on our end. All right, so I know a lot of you have felt like this little kid in this picture as we were doing it the first round. So I'll give you guys a good demo, and hopefully this link works. All right, and that's a little slow. All right. So when you guys go to the portal, this is your home screen. This is what you guys would most commonly see. So to start off, I think the view dashboard button is your most important in this whole list. It is the safety net that will catch any, if you ever log out or ever you have an issue, it'll save it in there for you so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you guys need to go. So if you click on that, and I have one that I started and never did, you'll see my applications, and then you'll see it in the unsubmitted. So this is where it gets saved. And it doesn't have to be just the feed labels. It could be anything that you're working on. And then all you'd have to do is click on the application, and it'll open it up where you left off. So, and then to go back to the home screen, you can either hit the home button or you can hit the signal over here in the corner. Either one will take you to your main screen. And I'll show you more features of that view dashboard as we go along. So with this being the license renewal, I'll show you how to do that. If you realize you need to add more facilities or anything, you can go through the add new license application, and you can add your facilities. But for the license renewal, we'll hit apply, and we only got a feed license in this demo. And you select the company. And just keep going through the steps. If you need to make a change, if you need to add a primary contact, you select this pencil icon, and it'll edit it for you, so you can go through and edit your information. Then you select the facilities you want to renew. And if you need to go to any more information, you can hit edit if you need to change any addresses or anything else. Reselect. All right, and then you agree, you read the statement and you agree. And then it will send you to the pay and submit. So since I got 2 licenses and they're $20, it'd be that. And then you have your option of ACH payment, credit card, or a check. In this case, I'm just going to hit check. So then that's all submitted. And you can print off of print payment details to put in your records too. So go back to the view dashboard, and then you'll see all licenses, and then you'll see all these categories. This one, now that I've well, it's still only approved. Once I approve it, it'll be in this category, and you'll be able to see a print option over here to print your license. But I think it's just waiting for another next step on my end. So next is the feed labels. The renewal will be a little bit similar to what the thing was. And the feed label, if you have not done your feed labels, you will need to, sooner the better. And you just select your company, small package feed, and then you would just add labels. You can add up to 150 labels in an application, so you don't have to stop at 10 or anything like that. You can just keep on adding until it'll tell you when you hit 150. So then you just hit your product name, your product weight, upload a file, and then let me know if it's a small package or large package. And that'll be the same steps of going through the payment also. All right. The tonnage report. You select your company name, your fee. We are doing the R1 January through June, and then we're going to do 2021. And it won't work for you guys until June. I set this up so I can show you guys. So up here in the right corner is the no sale button and then the toll mill only button. So if you meet the qualification that you only toll mill and you don't have any ingredients or anything that you would need to report, you can select that button. Right now, you currently have to let no sale go along with it, just because it's not working. Hopefully we get it repaired by the time June rolls around, so we can not have you guys have to hit no sale every time. So I'll undo those. So then for the total tons distributed, you hit the add line item over here on the right-hand side, you select your product type. This is all the same products that were on the paper form previously. So you can select it. I'll select beef feed, and I'll put 200 ton. And then you add line item, and then you can keep on going. You can only have one entry per product type. So add all your beef feeds up, and chicken feed, and any other types of products. So if you're selling it to the exempt, you would add it in here. You search a license number. I don't know if that one. Or you could type it in by name. And then you select the product type that you get from them, and then the tonnage. I'll do beef feed since I had beef feed up above. All right, and then this is if you, let's say, like this first scenario where you make the chicken, or the first example where you make the chicken feed, and you want to just put chicken feed up there, and you just want to exempt all your soybean meal, alfalfa meal, and everything else you got from the feed companies. You can do it that way. Yes, it is not the same, but it equals out to the same ingredients. So that's the only reason I would have you guys move a different ingredient down here that isn't up there. And then you also see on people that have multiple companies, down at the bottom, you'll see this next one. So it's my other facility. So we broke it out so everybody can enter stuff per facility, or you at least have to do something in this. So if you enter all your information, preferably you break it up, but if you do enter all your information in the first one, you would still have to hit no sale down here, just to show us that you did look at it. And then let's go save and next. And this will look a lot similar to the page before on the payment. So you can do the payment options and go from there. But all right. Next, there's this tile that is called company information. So this is if you want to edit your mailing address. If you moved or anything, you can go in and edit your addresses, or make any changes that you need. Also, if you need to do your facility, you can do the same here. For some reason, it doesn't allow the physical, but it'll let you change the mailing address if needed. This request inspection is just for our eggs. So you guys would not necessarily need to even touch this one. I personally haven't even really touched it. So that's just one for a different category of within our bureau. The frequently asked questions. This is a little helpful tool that is kind of what's on our website, but also some extra. It does have a video tutorial for the licensing portal, and it also gives a step-by-step guide for this portal also. So if you have any questions on what to do next and I'm not available, you can just go in there and select your guide and find the steps. We are also hoping to put the video, once it gets downloaded, into this so we can have it as a reference. But we're working on that process. And then the manage users. So let's say Chris is the one doing it all, but maybe it needs to go to an accounting person to pay the bill. We go to new user. We select the company that they want to be affiliated with. And I'll put Alan Keller And then I'll put a Alan Keller at Gmail just to make it easier. And then you'd select the active. Once this, it'll send an email to this person. Hopefully there's an Alan Keller at Gmail. They probably just got an email. But they'll get an email link just like you did when you got logged in, and it'll have them set up a password. Let's say if somebody left the company, you would edit, and then you would just hit the active button, and it will take the active away from them so they cannot use the portal. So that's just how you can control your users within your own facility or your own company. So that is pretty much everything on the portal itself. The one extra thing that I do want to share with you guys is up on the right-hand corner. There's a search licenses button, and you can see if another company is a licensed manufacturer. So you just go to license type, you put feed in there, and then let's say I want to look at Audubon County, and then you can search it, and you should see a facility for the demo. So that's just how you can see where companies are located. If you need help or something, they're also licensed there to be able to assist you if you need help making feed or something. I'm sure they're always looking for more feed to manufacture. So that is everything for the portal. So for future meetings, so I want to do these meetings at the beginning of each cycle, kind of do an inform of any changes or anything that's needed. I also want to do educational topics. So we can get guest speakers such as inspectors or topic experts if they're a university or something. We can work on that. Some topic ideas that I thought of, like preventative controls, VFDs or tissue residue stuff, inspection processes, or any other topic that you want to learn about, just send me an email and I'll work on seeing if we can incorporate it into one of our next meetings. Here's my contact information. I have a feeling majority of you guys have contacted me before. And then there's pictures of my family around, and yes, that is the same calf my kid is riding that he's feeding the bottle to. I will be out of the office from June 2nd to June 13th. So if you need to, I will have my phone on, but I will be limited on what I can do. So just giving you guys a warning on that. So any questions? We'll go to the chat feature, if I can figure out how, and answer some questions that you guys may have. So if you are a toll miller, do you have to add labels? No. The labels are only for the small package pet foods that are in packages of 10 pounds or less. So if you're the toll miller, no, only the pet food manufacturers would. We are considering a change to our feed to a partner in the state of Illinois. What fees would be appropriate, as we would not be distributing feed inside the state of Iowa. However, we do produce it here in Iowa, and we would ship bulk truckload quantities. So you would still require a commercial feed license, just because you're still manufacturing within the state of Iowa. And you would just be the minimum fee on the tonnage reports at that case. So, and then we got one from our counterpart in Missouri. And they have a similar program. So if you guys have any questions. But there's some differences, so always contact the state that you're selling to make sure. Is there any way to view the labels that have already been submitted? Oh, yes. Let me go back to that for you. All right, so again, on that view dashboard, under all labels, sorry, I forgot to do this. I think I have mine in approved renewing just for this, but awaiting renewal. So if you have it, you'll see the product name here, and then you'll be able to edit the label if you need to, or add another attachment. Or if you add it, let's say, I'm making a 10-pound bag now. So you'll be able to save that, and then it'll go to me to be rechecked. But and then you'll also be able to see the submitted tonnage reports that you've done in the past. So if you need to look back on a year, you'll just go and see, okay, well, I did other feed for 5 tons last year. So we do have that capability for you guys. Next question. Just a copy of the thing. Okay, we are in Minnesota and ship bulk swine feed to Iowa. Will we be inspected by an Iowa representative? No, you'd be subject to the inspection by your state. So our inspector will not cross over to Iowa to be it, but you would need to submit the tonnage report for the feed that you do ship into Iowa. We can print them for you. We are trying to get away from printing the tonnage reports. We do have a few that are unable to print, so we have been able to. So if you don't have access to the computer, just let us know and we can work with you. Under what circumstances where a label can be exempt to unload into the portal? I don't know if I understand it. Exempted to be unloaded or uploaded. Every label can be uploaded, but we only require small package pet food for uploading. So if you are just selling large package, you do not need to upload your labels. If you're doing beef or anything else, you would not need to upload your labels into the portal. So only the small package pet food or specialty pet foods. Will you email companies reminding to fill out the different reports? Yes, there is going to be email reminders coming out automatically from the system. We'll send at least 3 before anything gets expired or suspended. I'm also, that's kind of the reason, just to get you thinking about the tonnage reports and everything, is doing these meetings, is to get your thought back into that process. So between this, my personal emails, or the emails from the portal, you should have some notification that, and this time I believe we might even do a mailer. I'm not for sure yet, but just to make sure we hit everybody again. Will you email companies reminding when to fill out? Just read that one. What if you have more than 150 labels? You just start another application. So it'll shut you off at 150, and then you just go back in, and just like you started the first one, you can add as many applications as you need. But it won't let you submit it if you have more than 150, because I've tried and we've had some issues. So that's why we set the limit at 150. Will the tonnage tax inspection fee apply when companies that you will not be inspecting, like a mill in Minnesota? Yes, the inspection or tonnage is more based on the quantity of feed that is sold into the state. It's not the inspection of the mill. So that's the best way I can kind of explain it. We are in Minnesota and we receive fully whole soybean meal and DDGs in or from Iowa. Who pays the tonnage on what? So if they are selling to Minnesota, they would not be paying the fee. It would be when you are returning the feed back to Iowa. If that makes some sense, because they are not selling it to Iowa, so they would not have to report it. But if you make that meal or hulls or anything into feed and sell it back into Iowa, you would have to pay it then on the return to Iowa. My records show that the feed license are due in June and small packages due December. Do we submit labels for both? Labels are only needed to be submitted in December, but if you have not done so yet this year, or if you don't have labels on the portal, let's put it that way, then you would need to submit your labels when you do your license. With the old database, we didn't have a way to store it, and they were in filing cabinets, so we had no way to do a data transfer of all of them into the new portal. So that is why we couldn't upload them from the old system. Should I add some? Some of the loads are hauled by U.S., some are delivered by us. What question was that relating to? Oh, the way it's delivered doesn't really affect the way it comes back. It's just how where the location is sold. We only want the tax based on what is sold in Iowa or what ends up in Iowa. So, like you said, if you go sell the soybean meal to Minnesota, they're not going to report it because they're only selling it to Minnesota. But if you sell that feed that has that in there back to Iowa, then you would have to report it because then you're the first to distribute it into the state of Iowa. So if you are in Iowa and sell to distributors in Illinois and Missouri, who pays in which state? So if you only sell to those states, you would not have to report them. You would just be licensed and have to do the minimum inspection fee. Then you would have to pay Missouri and Illinois if they have their inspection fee or tonnage reports. You would have to pay them their fee for that because they're being distributed into the state, into their states. So does the system allow for a mass upload of several labels at once? You can do drag and drop, but it would only let you drag and drop what is in that particular label that you're in. So you wouldn't be able to do 150 under one label when you hit the add label. You wouldn't be able to add 150 because they're all going to be different within there. So each one of those add label boxes should have a separate product in it. So I hope that makes sense. If not, you can call me or email me after the meeting and I can help you figure out. But we do not have a real good way to multi-upload currently, a bunch of them. And then Stan in Missouri said that distributors and brokers should be on the exempt list. And so, is there any other questions? All right, without seeing any other questions, I will probably just end the meeting. And if you have any questions going forward, don't be afraid to email me or call me. So thank you guys for joining. And I know the meeting was full, so we're going to try to increase our numbers for the next one. So thank you guys, and I look forward to the next one. Thank you. Bye.